Yo, party people in the place to be. This is the X Factor. Don't let the introduction fool you. We still are the Comic Call crew. I just haven't had an opportunity to get all of our intros together because we're gonna have an intro for this show as well as the Comic Call show. I haven't had time to do that. However, I'm gonna get on it. You all know who I am. I am Dusty Big Brown, aka Al, and it's 11 o'clock, a little bit after 11 o'clock. We try to start on time, y'all. But
Eastern Standard Time.
We are here, Eastern Standard Time. And in our defense, let me just say, both Larry and I work at the same location. We get off at the same time. And that's 30 minutes before this show starts. So this is dedication to you all that have showed up tonight. We do appreciate you being here. To my right, I think it's my right. To my right is my man, Larry Crocker, a.k.a. L. Crocker 81. And we're going to be holding it down tonight. We thank you all for showing up. If y'all don't know, Donnie Bro, look here, man. Thank you for being here, my man. Donnie is an avid watcher of us, and we really appreciate you. One day we're going to have you on the show, man, and we're going to drink wine and eat turkey legs and whatever else. But yeah, appreciate you being here, man. Oh my God, we got Shannon in the building. What's going on? It's to my left, Shannon.
Thank you, Shannon.
So sitting here on this side, on my side, he is to my right. So thank you for correcting me. I do know my left and my right. I do know that, but for some reason he is to my right. So Larry, man, what's going on? How you doing this evening, bro?
Hey, it's good, man. Like I said, another Wednesday, new comic book day. X-Men, they took a beating today, but we'll probably get into that later. But yeah, man, it's another new comic book day, man. It feels good. It's a little late Eastern Standard Time, but hey, we're gonna do this.
Right on, wine and turkey legs. I'm gonna have to dry freeze them and send them out to you, man. Gotta find out what kind of wine and seasoning you want. Turkey legs, man. Hey, but thank you all for joining us. I know there's a few more people in the chat that's staying quiet for right now, but we appreciate y'all showing up. So just to give y'all a little feedback on this. This show is called The X Factor, and like I said, we're gonna have our branding soon. Larry and I are huge X-Men fans. If you don't know,
yeah.
Sometimes I wish I was a mutant, but we live in reality, so I'm not a mutant. Although sometimes I do still look at the remote across the screen and across the way, and I do this number thinking I got telekinesis, but I don't. One day I might wake up and have it. I don't know. But just speaking on me, I am a huge X-Men fan. The bulk of my collection of roughly 8,400 comic books, 90% of that is mutant related. If you don't know, I have a goal to complete the Uncanny X-Men Volume 1 run, and I am about 95% there. Actually about 92%. I got about 19 books left for the first, and I mean, this is X-Men 1 through 544. So I'm a huge X-Men fan. I've already collected the Volume 1 run of the New Mutants, X Factor Volume 1, Excalibur Volume 1. Although it is not technically a mutant book, Alpha Flight Volume 1, because they are kind of related to the mutant, but not. So I'm still working on a few of like X-Men Legacy, X-Men Volume 1, and a couple other books. I pick up a lot of the miniseries that come out. So yeah, I'm a huge X-Men fan, and I've been collecting off and on since I was 12. But anyway, I'm not gonna go into a lot of stuff. All I know is you see that hat up above me on. I don't even want to say if it's the right or the left, but you see that X. And I got another gray one that says the Charles Xavier School for the Gifted. But in any event, I'm gonna go ahead and pass the mic over to Larry. He's just as big as an X-Men fan as I am. So Larry, give him a little background on you.
Man, I don't know if I'm big as you, man, but what's up, Outcast United?
What's up, Chris?
But man, like Al said, man, both of us are a huge X-Men fan. That's what we came together and said, man, why not do a show, man, on something that both of us like outside of the crew enjoy. So that's how we came up with this. But yeah, I've been X-Men #1, the Jim Lee run, man. I don't know, when I was a kid, I saw it and it drew me in, and that's what got me into collecting comics. I saw that on a newsstand, man, and just I don't know, that picture it did something to me, man. So I grabbed that and I've been reading ever since. I like the newer stuff primarily, man. Like I think I tend to gravitate toward probably Uncanny Volume 2 going forward. Unlike Al, I don't do the Excalibur, the New Mutants and stuff like that, but I do have the newer stuff, the Uncanny 2 run, Uncanny 3 run, Deadpool, Wolverine, 4 runs of Wolverine all the way through. So, and the Hickman run, I have everything to do with that. So, hey, we roll. So that's
Right
a little bit
on.
about me.
Right on. So my first X-Men book was actually Kitty Pryde and Wolverine. And I added some music for the ambiance. So my first book was Kitty Pryde and Wolverine, first X-Men book. And I tell this story all the time, but I actually got started in the comic books reading the JSA, something DC, because one of my cousins went to a farmer's market here in Macon, saw Kitty Pryde and Wolverine #1, picked that up. A little while after that, went back to this comic book store that was located in the farmer's market here, picked up John Size X-Men. Asked me if I have John Size X-Men now, and I'm gonna tell you no, I don't, because I ended up selling my collection way back in the mid 90s, thinking that I was too grown. Yeah.
Years later, still doing it.
But the thing of it is, though, I mean, hindsight is 2020. I never thought that, X-Men, John Size X-Men was going to be worth, your first three firstborn and your dog and your cat. You know what I'm saying? But you live and learn. So that's on my wish list, in addition to the other books that I'm needing to complete my collection. So, but we are here. Just want to give y'all a little background on us. Again, appreciate y'all. Chef RD Harris, what's going on, man? Thank you for staying up with us. We won't be too long tonight. We might go a little while, but we won't go as long as the comic call.
Right.
That's a whole nother animal, and it's late at night. So we may look into, and I meant to talk to Larry about this, but we'll talk about the show. We may move the show, but just contingent upon a couple of things. Chris, Executioner song, hands down the best X Universe crossover.
That's a good one.
At some point, we're gonna get to that. We have a plethora of things to talk about. If you all were present when Larry and I are talking, sometimes, man, we on the phone after we get off work, and I don't know how we get on this subject, but we always talking about them darn meetings. So without further ado, we're going to get to our first segment. Now, this particular segment we do on the Comic Call Crew, I wanted to do it tonight because I am so sick of seeing this book. So,
so you might hear a couple of rants from y'all, so go ahead.
No, y'all ain't gonna. It ain't gonna be nothing like that. Now, I'm just telling y'all. But he did the segment this past Saturday, and I'm gonna do it again tonight. So without further ado, I bring you all Fool's Gold.
Here, Pierre, weigh this up. Yes, sir. And keep your thumb off of them scales, or I'll blow it off. She's pretty small. $10. $10? Why, it's getting so a man can't earn a dishonest living no more.
There's gold in them dar hills.
Well, back with another one, eh?
Hey, man, I like Food Killer. Why he do Food Killer like that? I just realized, man, it was Food Killer he had on it.
Food Killer is currently in the dollar bin until somebody say he gonna show up in the MCU somewhere. Just like this wretched book right here. Fool's Gold right here, folks. Marvel Comics presents 95 Origin of Costume. I had a conversation with Larry earlier today, and some of y'all may disagree, but I'm in a position where I am tired of seeing books that have increased in value on the strength of a movie. This book at some point, probably no more than $2-3. It makes no sense for this book to be any more than $5-6. That's just my opinion. All because this was the first appearance of the blue and yellow suit in the comic book. Now, I'm gonna ask y'all this question, and I really want y'all to answer the question. If you can participate in the chat, if not, that's cool. Do you think that every little bit, any information, do you think that a key should be something that should be upheld with the utmost respect? Or do you think just because Jubilee chews some double mint gum in issue 289 of X-Men and she shows up in a movie chewing gum, do you think that book should actually increase in value? I don't think so. I think it's a travesty nowadays, and I understand the sellers want to sell, people trying to get rid of the book, but honestly, this is basically a case of FOMO. It's FOMO. If you didn't have this book already, and no disrespect to Sam Key, some of his work is okay, but I do not like this cover.
Yeah.
I don't like this cover at all.
The rough.
It's very rough. And again, I like the Max, don't get me wrong, but I mean, is this book worth $25? I mean, really, do you all think that it's worth $25? I don't think so. I mean, Larry, what's your thoughts on it?
It's kind of tough on that one, man. I mean, like I said, I was one of those people, man, that when I first collected X-Men, of course, Wolverine had the brown and the tan. So to see him switch to the yellow and blue, you always want to know where that came from. But I don't know if that necessarily warrants, $40. So 20 maybe, 15 maybe. I do think it's a milestone, but I think it starts about 15, 20. But I think I saw it sell for 50 earlier. I'm like, nah, that's a little too much, man. You price me out at that point.
Dude, you very conservative. I mean, liberal. I'm sorry, I'm getting it mixed up. You very liberal when it comes down to that price, because like I told you earlier today, so anytime a character is subject to change a costume, that means that book is a key. That's what this book is saying. And this is no different than when all that hype happened a while back, when X-Men, when they dropped the news of the new X-Men 92 series, when I think it's issue 210, the trial of Magneto, when he got that old ugly purple.
Yeah, with Magneto changes.
It's no different. It is no different, because basically what they saying, okay, Magneto got that purple suit on he had on in that issue, so that book shot through the roof. So what kind of precedent is the comic book market actually putting out there by saying, okay, so we see a character in a suit? Nobody cared about this book before they saw those pictures of Hugh Jackman in this suit. Nobody cared. I think a couple people might have cared about it, but I think it wasn't a uproar. Like, put like this, I think when people cared about it, the market and the internet wasn't as, he been in the, he did the yellow and blue thing a long time. So I think when people actually cared about it, it just didn't move the needle on the price. But I think people did care about it. Like I told you earlier, I think it's like the Miles Morales, his suit change, even though his suit change was kind of rough too. I think years from now, when people start looking at Miles Morales that didn't before, they're going to go back to a point in time when he had on that ugly suit that the little boy had gave him. So, I mean, Miles, I think, is totally different. Miles is something fresh. And like I said before, I remember when they first started touting Miles Morales' new suit, they actually made that a big deal because, of course, they were pushing Miles Morales like, crack cocaine. But at the end of the day, it's like, right, the origin or the ketchup and mustard costume. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it gets to a point where I feel like certain things shouldn't be keys all because of what they actually represent. Because like I said, at any point in time, especially the X-Men. Some of the X-Men had several
costume. Yeah.
several costume changes. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, for anyone to actually say, okay, well, this particular kid, this book is worth something because he got a new suit on. To me, that kind of devalues the book, because at the end of the day, it's like, okay, you just selling this book because you know you can, and you about to find Boo Boo the Fool to push this on because somebody's gonna buy this book. And we all know whenever these movies come out, 2, 3, 4 months down the road, what happened? The book fall considerably, and you just wasting money. My suggestion for anybody that might be looking to pick up this book, wait till the movie come out, because you're paying too much for it.
Oh, look, I would say if you're a staunch Wolverine fan, then I wouldn't spend any more, like I said earlier, 15, 20 max. But like Al just said, it's not a book that's going to sustain any value. So if you're trying to get this book because you think it's going to increase in value, just like Sam said earlier, fool's gold. But if it's a book, if you like Wolverine and you want every aspect of Wolverine and his history, then I think it's a good pickup for you just to have. I think the suit does have some, I think it has some history to it. I think it's something behind why he chose it. But so I think it's something if you're a Wolverine fan to pick up. But once again, if you try to get into X-Men and say this is a book that's going to be worth tons down the line or because of this movie or anything like that, nah, pass it.
You know, you kind of mentioned something just then, man. I'm just going to go out and say it like this. I'm going to add to what he just said, and we're going to move into our next segment. At the end of the day, if you are a staunch Wolverine fan, you should already have a book.
That too. Unless you just get into the hobby.
I mean, that's different. If you just get into the hobby, that's one thing, because we've talked about that too, you know, and how certain books might be out of people. Like, for example, this book, even if they're like wanting to just read the book, 15, 20 books, that may not sit well with somebody that's coming into the game as far as comic book collecting. So, but like I said, at the end of the day, if you really want that book, just like my man just mentioned the Wolverine 88. If you, Apollo, shout out to Apollo. If you want Wolverine 88, wait till it come out.
No, it's not called Apollo, called all caps.
That's right. All caps when you say the man's name. You hear about the FOMO book of the week, Del Auto made Spider-Man version variant prize. Nah.
Wow.
And I'm gonna tell you something. People gonna spend the money on what they want to spend their money on. I don't have no problem with that, as long as you ain't, you know, break it into my checking account or savings account to get what you need. I'm good. You good. If you like it, I love it. But that's right here, and I got a couple of Del Auto's books. You know what I'm saying? He does.
I'm gonna go find that man and see what that is.
$5,000. Yeah, I need to see that. I need to see that. But I mean, some people are into collecting for art, and they'll pay high dollar for comic book art. I mean, that's their vice. That's the rabbit hole they went down. So more power to them. But like I said, I got 19 more books to go in my Uncanny run. So me personally, I'm gonna put my effort and time and money into that, as opposed to trying to find, you know, a virgin variant of Colossus, you know, playing volleyball on Mount Vesuvius or something. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna do what I need to do with my money to actually satiate my, you know, that's a lot of money, man. I mean, think about it. $5,000 per, you can probably get a low grade X-Men #1 for that. I'm speaking of X-Men-ese.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, you probably get a 1.5 or 2.0 for X-Men #1, and historically significantly better than an ASM virgin variant by Del Auto. But again, people spend the money on what they want to spend it on. More power to you.
I agree a little bit, Master Don. I think, man, I'm not gonna blame CGC. I'm gonna blame us a little bit, because we've given CGC a lot of power in the culture, as far as how we look at that 9.8. Man, a 9.8 could be $500 and a 9.6 can be $150. So the difference between a 9.6 and a 9.8 can't be that great. But you know, we give it that power in the culture as far as what we buy, or not what we buy as collectors, but as far as what the flippers and the speculators sell it for, and what some people buy it for. So it's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy, and I agree as well. I mean, you starting to put stuff on the labels that can potentially be a detriment to them too. Because at what point, where are you going to stop? You know what I'm saying? Like, you put new uniforms on the label. If Colossus happened to, I mean, that would be considered a key if Colossus were to acquire a new power set. But I mean, are you gonna put new power set or Colossus new power or what? I mean, it kind of opens up a can of worms that CGC might not be ready for. All right, Apollo. Now we're gonna talk a little bit about X Factor, but not quite how you envision an Apollo. We're gonna, and don't get me wrong, we're gonna have some shows where we talk about X Factor, New Mutants, the whole kid and caboodle. But tonight's show is going to be about undervalued X-Men books. So we're not here to campaign or lobby for now.
Yeah, we're not. X Factor is not the show for the night.
We're not talking about the group, but we will be talking about X Factor, and we will be talking about a book that is an X Factor book that's on this list. So stay tuned, my friend. So basically, from here, we're gonna go to one more segment, and then we're gonna get to the main event. And I'm gonna let y'all know now we ain't gonna play the main event from the Comic Hall crew, you know, because even though we the Comic Hall crew, you know, we're gonna have our own introductions and stuff. So hold on a second here. Give me a second. All right, here we go. Just want to show a couple of books to y'all. These are stealth buys that I actually picked up this past Sunday at a local comic shop. The first one, and I already have these, and ironically, they are X-Men books. So I wanted to show X-Men 183. And I don't know if y'all see the price tag on that, but that was $2.
Colossus.
And the Juggernaut. Those happen to be two of my favorite X-Men characters. And then the coup de grace would be X-Men, Uncanny X-Men 171. That was also $2. Now, this particular book, I consider this a stealth buy because this is when Rogue actually joined the X-Men. So on average, this book goes for around $15 to $20, $25.
And that's a newsstand. I think that's a newsstand.
And this is a newsstand. But unlike that Marvel Comics Presents 95, this would be considered a key.
$2.
$2. So there are still deals to be found out there, y'all. You just got to look. I was surprised because no, you good, Apollo. You good. The name of the show is called The X Factor. And we're going to be talking about X-Men related stuff within that sphere. But yeah, we're going to be talking about X Factor. Don't get me wrong. Matter of fact,
anything with X in it, man.
Yeah, anything with X in it, aside from two other X's that you add to one X. We ain't talking about none of that stuff. Sorry about that, Donnie, man. But yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. So basically, we're going to go ahead and get started on that particular bit of the show. So the crux of this show, and matter of fact, Apollo, since you brought that up, I'm going to talk to Larry, man. We might make that the next show topic because X-Men are so diverse. We can pretty much talk about Professor X clipping his toenails and stuff, and we can make that about an hour-long conversation. But in any event, what we're going to do tonight, we're going to talk about the books that we feel like are undervalued X-Men books. Now, everyone knows that at this particular point, the X-Men has yet to show up in the MCU. And we already know, based on what we've seen with Disney, with Disney Plus and Marvel Studios and that whole kit and caboodle, that whenever they announce something, expect for the price of that book to shoot up. Even though Deadpool is not necessarily Marvel Studios, kind of is, kind of isn't. We just talked about that Marvel Comics Presents 95, and you see. So many moons ago, and I think I should have actually posted a link, but maybe about 2 or 3 years ago, I did a video about some undervalued X-Men books across the board that are still grossly undervalued. Now, a couple of them might be on this list. I can't remember everything. But yeah, there are some grossly undervalued X-Men books that are currently out there. And what we're going to do, we're going to start with the first one. Let me set up my presentation again. Also, folks, for those who are watching, if you have any ideas or, any type of, feedback that can help us actually make this a better show, let us know. Hit us up. Our email address is comicallroundtable@gmail.com right here, or you can DM us on the Comic Call Crew page on Instagram. So yeah, let us know what we can do to make the show better. And if you are an X-Men fan and you want to get on a show with us, let us know. As long as you ain't crazy and talking out the side of your neck, you good. Okay.
It's gonna be something that going on. Like I said, right now everything's silver, man, because we're agreeing on everything. But trust me, they go there sometimes.
Oh yeah, we me and Larry, man, and that's the beauty of having conversation, is that we love the X-Men, but we don't agree on everything.
Right.
It be sometimes Larry say some crazy crap, and I'm like, no, bro, that ain't gonna fly, my man. I love you like a third cousin, bro, but no, that's not happening, man. Okay, so here we go, y'all. So we are going to start off this whole segment with one book that I feel like is grossly undervalued. It should be popping up soon. Uncanny X-Men 221. Now, for those in the live stream and those who might watch after the fact, this is a grossly underrated book. It is the first appearance of Nathaniel Essex, aka Sinister, and this book is pretty much on the cheap end of everything right now. While people are going out trying to get the first appearance of John Size, which understandable. Some books are grossly undervalued, and Uncanny X-Men 221 is one, namely because Mr. Sinister has been pretty much a consistent foil to the X-Men over the years, especially with the last 3 or 4 years when Jonathan Hickman took over, and he did the House of X and Powers of 10, which, by the way, if you hadn't read that, if you're a first-time X-Men reader, I would say go further back than that, but Powers of X and X of House of X and Powers of 10 is probably a really good place to start. But he's been involved in a lot of the shenanigans. What's going on, Iconic Point?
Well, it seemed like 221 was going to. It's like it was going to take off, and then for some reason it just kind of it died again. But I agree, man. Sinister, you had where he sent Gambit and them to kill the Morlocks. He was a part of that. He was constantly in the cartoon. He's been there for a long time. Right. Hey, man, you need to read that, Apollo, man. It's good stuff.
It's really good, man. That Hickman run, that right there, man. If you can't find the individual books, find the trade for both of them.
It brought the X-Men back, man, because they had suffered for a minute there, man. That Uncanny Volume 4 or 5 run, yeah, they kind of fell off a minute, man. But so they brought it back. But back to Sinister, man, like he's just consistently been there. So I don't can't understand why, what were the prices on that book that we were looking at,
Well,
man?
we
As far
about
as
to
what
get
they
to
were
that
selling
right
for?
now. So eBay, we actually did some digging. So eBay, looking at these prices on eBay, first appearance of Mr. Sinister key issue, 64 books. CGC 8.0, $80. Now, this just gives you an idea. This is not the end all be all of prices, but eBay has been known for price gouging a lot of stuff. But when you look at these prices, 9.4, 109. I mean, for a villain that has actually put in work with the X-Men since the Mutant Massacre, this is kind of like an underwhelming book when it comes down to just value, considering that he's currently in one of the biggest storylines with the X-Men right now. But yeah, it's one of those books. It's kind of like, yeah, this book is pretty cheap.
I kind of pointed at the comic book cabal and not feel the need to push the book.
Yeah, and I can agree with that. I mean, if it's no end of a movie, yeah, I can see that to a degree, But even still, man, I mean, if you are not, the person that's into X-Men, and you might just want these books, and like I said, we're not condoning or campaigning for anybody to go out and buy these books. We just want to talk about what we see as undervalued books.
Right.
But first appearance, high grade, allegedly, is 5 bids, 39, 40 bucks, 44 books at 11 bids.
Yeah, Sinister's done everything, man. He's been involved in Messiah Complex. I mean, the Marauders. I mean, like, for somebody, and it's another villain who he's connected to that's also probably on this list that we're going to talk about. But once again, you talk about villains who have consistent storylines, who should definitely be, when you think about value, I would think, man, if I was going to hunt Mr. Sinister, I'm thinking I'm gonna pay, man, $300-$400, for a copy. But I would tell anybody, if you like Sinister, hey, go get it.
Oh, Big Shaq, going on. Glad you can make it.
Immortal.
Big Shaq. But just to me, I think it's a travesty because Sinister's one of those characters that he should definitely get some shine in terms of, like I said, the work that he's put in the X-Men lore, and just the fact that he's a very intriguing villain. He's got ties with Apocalypse. He's got ties with the Hellfire Club. Oh, a whole bunch. And I agree, Donnie. He's one of the top 3 members of all time.
Especially right now, like he's
right.
He's messed everything up.
Everything up.
Yeah.
I mean, he is. I'm not caught up in my reading. Larry kind of keeps me abreast of what's happening, but he in all kind of devilment right now. Like my grandma would say, "Well, you need to get out of that devilment."
Yeah.
But y'all can see. I mean, this is criminal. But I mean, it's out there for people to take advantage of, especially before they announce anything. Because I'm gonna tell y'all something, and y'all heard it here. I'm not advocating anything, and again, y'all go out and buy what you want. But I can guarantee y'all that whenever the powers that be announce X-Men in the MCU, every title, listen to what I'm saying, every title is game. In this speculation market, everything is game. X-Men got a lot of crap out there, y'all.
MCU, OBO.
OBO, MCU.
MCU.
I'm telling you. So if you're like me and you're trying to get these books for your collection, go ahead and try to get what you can when you can. Otherwise, that blue and yellow suit gonna be about $500 if you pay up in there. Well, I'm telling you, it's gonna be crucial. All right, so we gonna move on to the next book, which is another criminally undervalued book. Why, I don't know. But we got Avengers Annual.
Yeah, that was crazy, man.
Number 10. this book makes no sense. You would think that Rogue would have got. Yeah, you're right, Big Shaq. This is the right time to get them. Pretty much any
Yeah, basically
X-Men run.
that's
Go
one of
ahead,
the reasons
man.
we're doing the show. This is one of the reasons we're doing the show, man. It's not to push books, but we telling people, man, if you X-Men fans, this is the time to go get them because these are the prices that they're going for, and if you wait, I think all these books, man, like if anything happens, if the MCU does happen in the next couple of years or whenever they expect it to happen, yeah, you're not gonna be able to get these books at these prices, especially not this one. I don't think. If Rogue is not a part of any team on the big screen, that would just I might not even watch
it. And you know, I'm gonna go out on a limb. Like I said, I'm not into the flipping thing, but if you are, and this is down your alley, knock yourself out. I mean, I own the books because I'm a fan of the X-Men, and I read them. I got a raw copy and I got a graded copy. I just bought a raw copy of this book, not even Larry, 2 months ago, 3 months ago. Was it earlier this year?
Earlier this year,
yeah, for like less than $50.
And I just bought a 9.0 for right under 100.
Hey, another gem from Donnie. If you wait, it's too late. That's right, because I'm gonna tell you something. You remember the whole buzz about Rogue being in the Marvel movie and how it spiked up. Like I said, whenever they announce the X-Men in the MCU, I don't care who it is. It could be Nightcrawler, it could be Maggot, it could be Bishop. We're gonna talk about his book too. It could be Cable. Them books gonna go up. I'm telling y'all.
Well, you know, they were saying because I think Danvers is supposed to have a part in the Marvels where she doesn't have her powers, and they were saying, "Oh, Rogue must be somewhere," and people started buying the book. I'm like, "No, not this soon," but I think it's gonna happen at some point.
Excellent point, iconic point, no pun intended. But yeah, that right there is the sweet spot of the X-Men right there, because that's pretty much, I think all that is Claremont. All that is Claremont. You got some Dave Cockrum in there. You got some Mark Silvestri. And that's where a lot of the stuff happened, where the X-Men started coming in to their own with like their Rogues Gallery and stuff, like the Reavers and Henry Peter Gyrick. Those stories came out of that particular run right there. So yeah, if you gonna do it just for the special for the purpose of flipping, and like I said, we don't condone that. But if you do, what Iconic Point just said is right. But if you want them just to have them, it's still a prime time to get them, because right now they're pretty inexpensive.
Although I will say a couple of things that me and Al talk about is, me personally, I think that Marvel might flip the script and they might do something a little bit more current than a lot of people think. Because if you already look at what they've done, they pretty much made Kamala Khan a mutant, with the comic books turned around and copied. And I don't know if any of you guys read the current Monica Rambeau run, but pretty much they kind of made her a mutant as well. So I think that the X-Men that we get on the big screen might not be the X-Men we get from the comics, but we'll see.
But and we've talked about this before, and I'm gonna get to this picture up top. We saw that and we were tripping out.
It's that triple X.
Yeah, triple X version, like somebody did that. So y'all want to buy this up on eBay. But anyway, it really doesn't matter. I feel like it doesn't matter because we've seen it happen before. Clandestine was in Miss Marvel, and what happened to that book? And that team wasn't nothing like the team, but people were selling that book for $20-$30. So as long as there's a name attached to it, most people are not going to care, because it's probably going to go back to the days of what's the name of that book, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, where everybody was nitpicking the trailer, and everybody from Ireland to Mephisto was in the movie,
The superior Iron Man.
Right. All of that stuff. So y'all going it down. All right. So this right here, we're gonna show y'all this book. We don't know where the heck this came from because as you can see, I searched for Avengers Annual 10. But somebody got him a little X-rated version of Rogue out
Yeah,
there. So
if any of y'all that want that like that, yeah, that's
y'all want to screenshot it and take it home. $27.
$27.
So I'm pretty sure, yeah. But anyway. Let's see here.
Hey, look, it's even signed, man. Homage with COA.
Hey, I don't need it. And then again, it might show up on the show in 2 weeks. You don't never know.
Look, Matt watching, man.
Shannon, if you still in the chat, bro, there you go, man. All right, so we got Avengers Annual 6.5, $62. $149.95. They said it's near mint. $79.99.
Just for what Rogue means to the team.
Right. We didn't even talk about, come on, man. She showed up as a villain in the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Man, she single-handedly took out the Avengers in this particular issue, and she stole Ms. Marvel's powers. And we didn't even talk about the story arc that lasted 10 years between her and her finally coming to grips with her stealing Ms. Marvel's powers and stuff, bruh. The Savage Land. When she lost the powers, when they went through the siege period.
She was Mystique's daughter,
Right, all this. Come on, man. This book is crazy. This book must be beat up.
It's very good.
Yeah, this book beat, man. Like it's got water damage.
He got very good on that.
Yeah, and like it been floating in some doo-doo water, but no, I'm good.
Hey, look, that's why read the descriptions.
Yeah, please don't go buy this book, y'all. He should be giving this away, man, for real. Like, no, dog, that ain't the move. But yeah, this book is criminally underrated. $52 for it. One bid on an 8.5, $79 for 8.5 raw. Take that for what you will. It's insane. And like I said, for what she's done in the comic book, it just seems like this is pretty cheap for a major character like Rogue. And she's still doing her thing. So
I'm gonna go off the cuff, man, just for a second. What do you think? How you think she compares to the first appearance of Betsy Braddock, or
honestly, Betsy Braddock is she's pretty good. I like Psylocke, but in terms, if you put Rogue and Psylocke side by side, Rogue has been in more high profile story arcs over the years than Psylocke has.
Well, yeah. Well, as far as the price of the books, what do you think is the comparison?
So what now?
What do you think is the comparison between if we took an 8.5 first Betsy Braddock versus 8.5 Avengers Annual 10? What do you think the difference would be?
Honestly, I think Betsy Braddock's first appearance was in a New Mutants book.
Yeah, it was in an annual too.
Yeah, it was New Mutants Annual.
I want to say 14, but
I don't know. Don't get me the line, but I know it's a pink cover, and I want to say New Mutants are in Asgard or something. I could be wrong, but New Mutants Annual. That is. Appreciate that, Apollo. Well, that first volume of New Mutants is underrated anyway, man. We're gonna talk about it. It had some really good stories, man, and they kind of filled in the gap for the X-Men for a while, at least for me. But I don't think I could put that New Mutants Annual 2 against Avengers Annual 10 simply because, like I said, I feel like Rogue has been a more high-profile player in the X-Men lore than Psylocke. Don't get me wrong, that whole Quanon, assassin, when she was assassin of the hand, all that kind of stuff, it was dope. Chris Claremont made pretty much almost anything dope back then. But like I said, in comparison to Rogue, man, I mean, she's
I'm
been more consistent.
I'm gonna tell you something crazy. That Psylocke miniseries,
I never.
that number one second print is probably worth more than Avengers Annual 10.
That's because of the cover, though, right?
But I'm just saying, it shouldn't be.
I agree, man, but you know how it is, man. I mean, what's up is down and down is up, down in the comic book game. So, yeah, let's see. I think people just like Psylocke.
Crazy, man.
I think so, and I mean, Psylocke in her own right, man. She's very tough. I mean, like I said, she got some, nice moves. In terms of her power set, and then of course she's a trained assassin. She's a ninja. So
I think the character got stagnant. I think they were going somewhere with her for a minute, like in that 1991 run, when her and Sabretooth were going at it, and her and Gambit was finding out things. She was learning about Gambit and things he was doing, and then she was flirting with Scott and all that stuff, and then it's like they just like, you know what, we're gonna make you a backseat character now.
Well, you forgetting they linked up with Angel though.
Yeah, she did. She had that thing with Angel, right?
She had that love for.
I think they brought her back for like Uncanny X-Force. They tried to make her a top tier character again, but it's like they'll bring her to the forefront, and then like, you know what, back to the back you go.
You know what? That could be one of our shows. We creating show topics off the rip tonight, so we're gonna get together on that one too. All right. So next book, Miss Marvel 16, First Mystique, and just like Rogue, her adopted mom or adopted daughter, Mystique has put in work since she's been introduced.
Oh yeah,
she has really put in work. I watched this guy on YouTube. Shout out to he probably will never watch this, but there's a channel called The Fighter's Den. This dude, he is a huge fighting game fanatic, and he's a lore channel. So he's all up on lore in terms of like fighting game lore and stuff. And one thing that he likes to do that I like to see him do is talk about the feats and accomplishments of certain characters in various games. And you could apply that to the comic book world too. I mean, Mystique has been an integral part. Brotherhood of Evil Mutants has been freaking force. Yeah. She was in the X Factor for a short period of time. Yeah. And she's done literally just about any and everything. Plus, she was an important piece she is still an important piece to the current X-Men Krakoa storyline. So
history of Wolverine.
Yeah. So she's beat with Sabretooth. Yeah. All kinds of stuff, man. So I mean, as far as her, she's basically one of those characters that, put aside the original, the Sony X-Men, she could be utilized in a big way at some point when it comes down to, the MCU. But as far as it goes, she's like, her book is not really, it doesn't reflect that her staying power in terms of what she's done in the X-Men story. So
like, what do you think? Better Mystique, the first trilogy of X-Men movies or the First Class trilogy? What you think?
I'm gonna go with the first one because I have an affinity for X2. I think X2 is the best out of the whole King Kabuto aside from Logan. I don't know why I'm using King Kabuto tonight. Like, it's just, but the whole series, X2 with Nightcrawler is the best, in my opinion, the best X-Men movie that they've come out with thus far. Days of Future Past was okay, but yeah, I'm gonna go with the first set simply because of that one movie.
Well, it's just crazy, man. That second trilogy, man, they made Professor X and Mystique like they grew up together. And don't get me wrong, I don't want to come off one of those people that feel that y'all feel like the comics have to mirror the movies. I'm not like that. But that one was just kind struck me kind of weird. It just didn't fit at first.
Well, you know how I feel about them. The first one and the third. Well, the first one was okay. Second one was great. Third one was garbage. And I'm not afraid to say it. That movie was all over the place. So
I agree, Apollo.
man, let me tell you something. That scene where I think they were in the White House and they were trying to catch him.
Yeah.
That right there set the tone for that whole movie. That movie should have been called Nightcrawler and
X-Men.
That movie was good because of him. It was really good because of him. Alan Cumming, he did a great job with that character, and the CGI was on point, you know. But yeah, that movie was the best X-Men movie. So looking at the prices on eBay for Miss Marvel 16, I don't know what. Hold up.
Yeah, well, I will clarify. 16 is the first appearance of Raven Darkholme. 18 is the first appearance of Mystique in her form.
He was supposed to correct this, ladies and gentlemen, but he didn't. So, all right. So, okay. So this is the first full appearance of Mystique, right?
Yeah.
All right. So Raven Darkholme was in 16, but they still tout that to being the first appearance of Mystique. So is it Raven Darkholme or is it Mystique as the first appearance of Mystique?
They might call it a cameo, I guess. They might call it a cameo, but 18, I guess they call it the first full. You know, we always had that debate about cameo versus.
Yeah. All right. So first full appearance of Mystique, $179.95, 7.5, $105, $60.
I agree, Big Shaq. That is a says a bad first appearance cover.
We're gonna look up 16 in just a second. But full first appearance, $89.99, 7.0, $34. So I mean, y'all see it, 8.0, $300. I said go collect for that one. That seemed like that might be a bit much, but we still talking about undervalued. So $200 for all. So I don't know about that. So we got an 8.0 here for $190 and an 8.0 up here for $300.
Yeah.
So pricing is all over the place thanks to eBay.
And once again, just like I said, read the description. Don't go for the first thing that you see on eBay. It's just scroll all
right, he ain't lying. So let's check 16. First cameo, Mystique, 134, 9.4. First appearance of Raven Darkholme Mystique cameo. Okay. I don't see none of them that say MCU though. $40 for the cameo appearance. So this one looks like it's slightly lower than 18.
Yeah. I think 18 is probably the biggest one.
Yeah. I'd rather have the first appearance of Mystique than Raven Darkholme. So I stand corrected on that picture. So yeah. Still an undervalued book in my opinion. Just like I said, based on what she's done. All right, so the next book, I don't know why Marvel.com did me like this. I was looking for the actual book. Uncanny X-Men 129. This book is actually kind of seen spikes, but it's still an undervalued book in our opinion because it's the first appearance of not one but two characters, Kitty Pryde and Emma Frost. And both of those have actually put in work as well throughout the course of their appearances. You know, Kitty Pryde was her code name was Sprite when she first joined. She was like the youngster of the team and everything, and she took a liking to Colossus, which, you know, on today's standards, Colossus would probably be considered. He would be considered something that rhymes with Chester, but he's still my boy. Then of course you got Emma Frost. She Hellfire Club. She became head mistress of the to get the school of youngsters with the Banshee, with Generation X. Then she ultimately joined the X-Men. Got into a romantic tryst with Cyclops, was his main squeeze for the longest. And she's still a current mainstay in the X-Men comic books today. So I guess with Emma Frost already being in a movie, wasn't she in one of them X-Men movies? I can't remember which one because I didn't watch it all the way through.
Yeah, she was in First Class.
Which one?
First Class.
First Class. Yeah, you know how I feel about that movie. But
I mean, that movie, man, the timeline is just terribly off in that movie. That's really the only thing that's wrong with it. But it's just like, man.
And we're gonna talk about that too, y'all. We're gonna talk about all these wretched X-Men movies. So y'all stay put, and like our boy Matt Odom say, hold on to your butts. But
I think, man, that Emma Frost, to me, is one of the characters that had the most character development through the years.
I agree.
Of X-Men lore, like to where she is now, it's like you can't really have a book without her right now. So it's kind of crazy.
And Larry has a point because actually the new X-Men around that time, when Grant Morrison was writing the X-Men, and they started getting those secondary, what they called them, the secondary mutations. That's when she really started to come to prominence. Like I said before that, she was Hellfire Club and she was head mistress to the Generation X team, but she's really coming to her own, and they've really given her some deep character development. Like I said, over the last 10 years, 10, 15 years. Yeah. So she is, like I said, a worthy contender for a book to be, a little bit more, especially with Kitty Pryde lumped into it. So you got on eBay, you got your prices. 7.0 for $188, 8.5 for $189, and that's raw. $195 raw.
Kate Pryde is huge too, man. Like it's
I mean, with
she was an X-Men Evolution, Shadowcat, training with Wolverine, fight Ogun, and her history is deep as well. And now, she's getting ready to assume the Shadowcat persona again.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, it's she phased the whole world through the bullet. Or she riding the bullet and phased the earth through the bullet.
Yep. Yeah, that was when she fought. That was that Pterodactyl on cover, and it had Colossus on it. I can't remember who they fought, but yeah, I remember that. I think Morrison did give her a diamond form because he gave Beast his secondary mutation too. So they were only two that actually got secondary mutations. See, I'm still kind of salty that they didn't explore that because I think it was a few more X-Men that could have got a rub off of that second mutation story. Did Iceman get a secondary mutation?
I don't think he got a secondary mutation, but he learned how to use his powers on that Omega level.
Yeah. You're right. Because in X Factor, he had to wear that belt. Okay. But y'all see, I mean, looking at this, considering that as two major X-Men characters, this book is some of these prices are kind of like, for a raw book, I don't know, man, they might be smoking some. But for the most part, it's still like kind of like an undervalued book.
It looks like the sweet spot right there, about 150.
Yeah, considering based on the condition, that might be fair. What do y'all think in the chat? Y'all think 150 would be fair for like a mid-grade or like 7-8 of that book? If you do, let me know either way. But while y'all drumming that up, we're gonna move on to the next book, which is gonna be a controversial book. But I don't really care because I feel like this book right here should be the book of all books when it comes down to this particular character. Y'all gonna know what I'm talking about. X-Men Annual 70, number 14. This is the first official appearance of Gambit. I don't care what nobody says. This book is Gambit. This is the first appearance of Gambit.
Yes, Chef. We'll probably have a conversation about that one day too.
Yeah, we're gonna have a conversation about a whole bunch of stuff, man. So like I said, y'all stay tuned. Biggest said I'd like a 4.0 for 80, but that sounds like a good deal. Yeah. So, like one of the cats, I can't remember his name on YouTube. He said, "No, low grade is better than no grade." So, if you can get it for a low grade and then look for an upgrade eventually, hey, knock yourself out. But this book right here, X-Men Annual number 14, this is the official first appearance of Gambit, publication-wise. Now, 266 was supposed to have been his first appearance, this is a new character to the world. Gambit, going through the woods with a baby storm, that type of thing. But in this book, and I didn't pull it up, but if you go online and you look at this book, I want to say this predates X-Men 266 by at least a month or a few weeks.
Yeah, I think a few weeks.
Which I don't understand why they dropped this before 266, because that doesn't make sense. But then, of course, this is 1990. We talking about it's not 2023, so people aren't looking at stuff the way people are looking at stuff now. But in this book, you have several pages of Gambit, and in this book, he also has dialogue. So at some point, you can't say this is a cameo. If he's in the X-Mention, I remember that particular panel vividly, talking to other X-Men, and in a couple other pages, he talking to somebody else while they fighting. This is the first appearance. But this book is going to be undervalued because 266 gets all the shine.
I think it was a clear mistake. I think the 266, I think the annual 14 in continuity is behind 266. But I think the way they pushed them out, it was like, I think they've done it with a couple of books recently, but sometimes the continuity doesn't match when they actually throw them out. Yeah, right. like Apollo said, yeah.
And like Big and Shaq just said, the angle tells us to refer to 266, but it came out before. So if you bought this book before 266 come out, how you gonna refer to 266 if you ain't got your hands on it yet? Now, after the fact, yeah, but I mean, if you really, and y'all know, everybody in this chat, avid comic book collectors and stuff, you all know the fierce battle and debate that is with Incredible Hulk 180 and 181. So, which one is the first appearance as opposed to which one is the actual cameo. Well, Wolverine, he speaks in that book in 180. So,
full page.
So, I mean, I guess it just depends on what the market dictates. But in my eyes, this is the first appearance of Gambit right here, because that's the first time I saw Gambit in this book. What's going on, guys? Glad you could join us. Back in the day, folks tripped over 266 when it first came out. Annual 14, people didn't pay it mind until Gambit became popular. That's true.
Yeah, that's 100% true.
Right, exactly. In 266, they meet because Storm went through that Siege Perilous when the Reavers got in their ass in Australia, and it reverted her back to child form, and she was back in Africa, and Gambit was over there stealing stuff.
And I don't know if anybody read Gambit miniseries they just dropped, but it kind of refers to that.
And I think she was running from the Shadow King too at that time. Yeah. But yep, I think this book is an undervalued book because of that fact. And you can take advantage of it. I mean, it's not near as expensive as X-Men 266. And I will say X-Men 266 is a popular book, and it's not on this list, but I think it's kind of low for what it's worth.
I think, once again, I think it was like we were saying earlier, I think it spiked. Like, man, everybody was like, go get 266. You gotta have 266. So it was like up on the incline for a minute there. But at the con, man, that we just went to, that was one of the most popular books I saw purchased. And it was 100, 150. 100, 130. I didn't see anything that was ridiculous as far as people buying it.
And I'm gonna tell y'all something. We had a con here about 2 weeks ago in Macon. And I saw this book. I didn't pick it up because I already got 2 copies and I ain't trying to be greedy. But I saw this book. A vendor was selling this book for about $18. So, I mean, for what it's worth, it's an undervalued book.
I think, man, the best thing that can happen to it is it gets the 180, 181 treatment that, eventually 180 picked up. After 181 went through the roof. Now, don't get me wrong, 180 is not half of what 181 is, but it did see a spike.
Yeah.
181.
Oh yeah, because but when 181 went through the roof, nobody get nothing but 180.
Right.
That was the only thing, and that's basically it's kind of like the New Mutants 86 when that cable book went out of control a few years back. 87 became unattainable to a lot of people, so they had to go with that last panel on the New Mutants 86 where cable show up, I think, on the last page on the gun. But yeah, you're right, Apollo. I mean, but that's with pretty much anything. Like if you are a diehard fan of anybody, now granted, I'm a diehard fan of X-Men, but I don't have the full run yet, but I'm working on it. And like I said, I'm down to 19 issues, so I'm right around the corner. But you're right. If you are a diehard fan of a particular character or group, regardless, then you should already have the book. Anybody that actually goes out and buys these books at this point is either they're going to be flippers or they're going to be a victim of FOMO. So. Yeah, you're right. Now he's absolutely right, because very good point. Because I remember that's the book I showed on the Comic Hall this past week. That's the Count Nefaria book, and that's technically the second full appearance of the team, the new team.
94 is a very popular book.
Plus the cover is iconic too. So yeah, you're right. You are absolutely right that it was more popular and valuable than Giant Size X-Men. So great point, guy. All right, so we are all moseying over to the next book, and Apollo, this is just for you. Criminally, and I'm gonna close my eyes and say this: criminally, and I'm gonna say it again. We don't have no reverb on this thing, but criminally underrated book right here, folks.
Apocalypse.
Just look at the screen. I've seen this book move less than for what I've seen Sinister move for.
I saw one person, man, and I think it's only because it's a 9.8. Had this book. A local store, man, has a 9.8 for, I think, right at $2.99. That's the highest I've ever seen it.
9.8 for $2.99.
Mm-hmm.
You know what, Apollo? Yeah, I can see that, but still, though, man, this is insubordinate, bro. This is Apocalypse. This is Egypt. This is Africa, baby. I mean, Apocalypse is like.
Is that movie killed?
Yeah. Hey, God, dude. Let me tell you.
Boy. Man, look,
I have a thing against a lot of these, and Larry tell you, man, some of them books. What's going on, Evan? Good to see you, bro.
$2.99, man, $300.
$2.99 for 9.8.
That's the highest I've ever seen it. But,
yeah. But yeah, that movie, Oscar Isaac is a great actor, man. But
nothing to say that.
We're gonna talk about this, y'all. But Sony, they did more harm to the X-Men brand than they did good, in my opinion.
The crazy part about that movie, man, if you saw when they go back and they talk about the movie, they had they actually had the mold. They had the comic accurate Apocalypse. They had it right there, and they chose to go with Ivan Ooze. I couldn't
Ivan
believe
Ooze.
it.
And then they had the audacity. Rico, if you're watching this, they had the audacity to release prototypes of Apocalypse. Remember when they did that? As far as the pre-production Apocalypse, that looked more comic accurate than the actual Apocalypse they used in the movie. Nah, I said to myself, I'm so glad I dodged that bullet like Neo.
Yeah,
to this very day, I have never, and I promise y'all, I've never watched that Apocalypse movie.
I watched it, man, but that one was bad. That was bad.
I've never, and I don't plan on it. Let somebody pay me a hefty sum to sit there like, Al, I know, you hate this movie, but we're gonna give you $200. I'll watch it then.
I do my best to try to find a positive in all those movies, man. But I couldn't find a positive in that one.
Hey, man, you can't find positivity out of a pan of burnt rice. The rice is burnt. The rice is burnt. It ain't no hope for it. Just throw it in the trash and start over. Okay, how much butter you put in it? How much saffron you put in it? If the rice is burnt, throw it away. Throw it away. Yeah, there's a lot of factors that jack this book up, y'all. Thank you for being so for participating in the chat, man. Yeah, movie killed Psylocke too. The movie killed it. It's a whole lot of factors, man. It's just working against this book. But honestly, man, Apocalypse is one of those characters, man, that honestly, he could be the next Thanos.
Yeah.
His character holds so much gravity in the Marvel landscape. I mean, they had a lot of stuff. I mean, when he first showed up, he was looking for Scott Gene's DNA because he felt like they were the chosen mutants that could make the best mutant baby out there. Then he went from that to one of my favorite storylines, the Age of Apocalypse, which was awesome.
The 12.
Right, the 12, which started off good, but they kind of killed that quick. And then of course his he just came back, but his role in the Krakoan Age with the X-Men and stuff, he is just one of those characters that if you like, the X-Men animated series Apocalypse tells you all you need to know about Apocalypse for the most part. The man is unstoppable to a certain degree, and he would make one of those characters where if you wanted to do like a trilogy of movies, he would be one of the best villains the X-Men could use in that trilogy.
We can't forget the one that Outcast or United mentioned earlier. Big part of Execution song. Yep,
you're right. You're absolutely right. Because then he fight Strife.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is Cable's clone, which I ain't seen him in a minute. But yeah, a lot of factors really destroyed this book, but this book is vastly underrated. I got like 3 copies of this book. You can buy 8 CGC 8 for $53.
The book later on, which he was also tied to, is probably more than that, the Archangel book.
Oh yeah, when he turned Archangel Angel into Archangel, the death horse.
24.
Yeah, he did that to. Well, I mean, that didn't really matter, but Hulk and Wolverine too. But yeah, y'all can see it. I mean, this is depressing.
At $25 best off, or best off.
Best offer. $9.99. One bid. Got 20 hours left, y'all. Y'all can probably get it for about $15, $34. Come on, man. Really? $25. Buy it now. They said it's a mid-grade. Mid-grade better than no grade. Look at this.
Yeah, the 25 like about the sweet spot, man.
I mean, at this point, Apocalypse is in the great value Costco blue light special.
You think, man, he was a villain of the week.
said what now?
You would think he was the villain of the week, man, behind the prices here. Like,
you would think he was Gorda God Butcher from Thor: Love and Thunder. Like he's just a throwaway character. Like Apocalypse, man, is just one of those characters where he commands that because of how they've written him and how they built them up over the years, you know, and not to mention going back to Sinister. I mean, their ties together. You know, that's how Sinister got his powers through Apocalypse and that celestial technology, you know. So I don't know, man. This should have been the last book. We got like 2 more books to talk about, and we're gonna be done. I think this should have been the last book because it's the most depressing book on the list. And yeah, that Archangel redesign was dope too, man. They really they breathed some life in the Warren Worthington, man, for real. Like that dude, before then he had hollow bones where he could just fly, but now he got healing factors and can turn his wings into blades and all kind of stuff. So plus they gave him a little killer instinct that he kept after he
his character needed a boost though.
He did, and that was a very much needed boost too, in my opinion. You get the cameo. Ain't nobody no bids. Hey man, this stuff is free for the taking, man. They have a fire sale on eBay. Apocalypse fire sale. they got MCU X-Men right there. Oh, MCU. Hey man, they ain't said nothing about Apocalypse in the MCU yet. But y'all get the drift. I mean, I don't know what to say. Hey Donnie, man, thank you for joining, man. We appreciate you. We shan't be long too much right now. We're gonna go with a couple of more.
Appreciate it, man. Like y'all said, man, we're gonna get better as it go along, man. Just let us know what your thoughts are.
You watch the rest of it in the morning or whenever you get a chance. But thank you for showing up.
All the speculators on the way to work.
Yes, sir. All the speculators went back to sport cars. I guess. I don't know. And that is indeed pitiful.
Pitiful.
For real. It's pitiful. Like I think at this point in time, like I said, because we've seen him in the Fox movies. I said gave Sony the miscredit for Fox, but and I stand corrected. So, but rest assured, if he shows up, MCU says we gonna do an X-Men saga, and we gonna center it around Apocalypse. $449, $385, $278. These prices are gonna spike. Like I said, if you're in the market and trying to get some of this stuff while it's dirt cheap, this is the best time to get it.
You know what Apocalypse is suffering from, man? Emotional damage.
Oh, okay. Hold up. Yeah, we gotta play this one now. This one right here, man. This, like I said, this should have been the last one because it's so depressing. But this right here will give you this
emotional damage.
For real. Oh, real. Now we can jump to the next one. Okay, so Bishop, Lucas Bishop. Uncanny X-Men 282. Criminally underrated. He's had the misfortune of being in 1 or 2 movies.
Yeah, I know he was in
he was in Days of Future Past. I remember that.
That's the only one.
Okay. That god awful Sunspot. Man, that movie. Golly. I hate. Well, I ain't gonna say I hate that one. It was okay. But yeah, I just don't like how they did a lot of these characters, man. But Bishop, you know, they built this whole story when he showed up with Malcolm and what's the other one's name? I can't remember the other one's name.
You talking about
the XSC, these other 2 guys with him. One of them named Malcolm, I can't remember the other one's name.
The only person I remember from the XSC is Shard.
You know them 2, they with the XSC too. One of them name is Malcolm, but I can't remember the other one's name. But he came on the scene, and you know, when he came on the scene, He was looking for Trevor and Fitzroy, who was time travelers from his age. They eluded him. He ended up meeting up with the X-Men, talking about how good he looked up to them as role models and stuff. He saw Gambit and he wanted to kill him. So Gambit was a traitor to the X-Men in the future. Showed him in the future. They had I don't know where they went with this. They might have just killed it, but they kind of rumored or danced around the fact that Storm may have been his grandmother based on the story, but I don't think they either killed that or they didn't go nowhere with it. Said what?
Yeah, I think they killed that one.
Yeah.
The only one they kind of went forward with was the whole Gambit thing, and that's when Rogue found out about the whole
Warlock.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Gambit basically went to trial.
But even with that, man, I think when they after the Messiah complex, when he was chasing Cable through time, or when he shot Professor Xavier in the head, that good stuff, man. He's played a huge role in the lore too. So I mean,
Sure did. So he has a little lore. I mean, the short period of time. I mean, he's one of the newer X-Men. Meaning, he came around in the 90s, but he still actually has had some pretty high profile, especially that Messiah complex. Because he was
cartoon. The cartoon.
A
lot of people know Bishop probably through the cartoon.
The cartoon. You're right. But yeah, that Messiah complex. He was going after Cable, and at one point, you could say Cable might have been scared of him, man, because he was coming at him relentlessly. It was like the T-1000 coming after the T-800,
Yeah, A.O.K. the cameo. I didn't know I never got another.
It's all good, Biggie. You could probably get that thing for dirt cheap now, man, if you look. But yeah, this book right here is also an underrated book. So we went to eBay to see what they had, and of course, you got one laid out without the bag, no board, $125, 9.2, $34.99. You got a lot of 281 through 288 for $44, including the first appearance and cameo of Bishop. The gold print, I got a copy of that. That's going to be slightly more expensive than the original A cover because it's basically gold instead of yellow, but it's still $15. Yeah, the second print, my bad. First appearance, direct edition, $19, $18.99, $12.
And this one of the books, man, this one of the books where you come to like, man, you got the first Bishop, and yeah, now it's like, oh, did I really want it, man? Like, no.
Hey, man, put some respect on Bishop's day. And yeah, I agree, guy. It's vastly underrated. Like, you would think that with the X-Men on the horizon with Marvel that these books would be something, but they're not, and that's good for people that really wants these books because that's an affordable first appearance key. $15. They say it's verifying their mint, but hey, only got two fulls, maybe one day. Yeah, maybe one day.
That's one of the books, man. It's so low, you just go ahead and buy it at a high grade.
Right.
Slab.
Yeah, I got
three. You don't even waste time, man, trying to buy it and then slab it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, I got 3 raw copies, including that gold second print. I don't know if I want a 4th copy of this book. You're right. I mean, 9.6 for $75.
Yeah.
Or best offer. So you could probably get it for cheap. Maybe
you probably talking about that shit.
$72, $73, maybe. Might be talking about $5. $80 for a 9.2. That's yeah. And then you get the trifecta, 281, 282, and 283. That's $10 a piece. So you literally getting the first appearance of Bishop for $10.
Now 281 is another book, man, that got me in the reading comics, man. 281 was right before X-Men #1.
Yep. So yeah, Bishop is dying now. Him and Apocalypse they got company. You know, they sitting at the same table eating sandwiches and shit. All right, folks. The last one that we're gonna talk about for tonight is going to be Uncanny X-Men. This is a Silver Age book. The Uncanny X-Men number 49. For those that might not know, this is the first appearance of Lorna Dane, aka Polaris, Magneto's daughter. Question mark asterisk, because you know they change stuff up all the time. Excuse me, y'all. Change stuff up all the time. So this is a pretty undervalued book. Now, granted, they haven't done much with Polaris probably within the last 20 years. I think her biggest shine is probably going to be when she was in the X Factor book back in the 90s with Larry Stroman doing the artwork. Shout out to Larry Stroman. But yeah, as far as it goes, it's still an underrated book because she's actually directly related to Asterix Magneto. So with this particular book, it kind of, for the first appearance of a a Silver Age character, it's kind of low.
But
Who
people,
knows Apollo?
I think people forget, man. I don't know if people watched the show The Gifted. It was actually decent, but you know, she was the main star in The Gifted, and I think they've done a lot to her character recently. You know, they made her an actual X-Man instead of her being like an X Factor, and even now, you know, she's a huge role as far as things going forward.
Hey, she might actually show up in the X-Men 92 cartoon. I'm pretty sure they're going to expand the amount of. Say what, Larry?
I looked at Biggest Jack and see he got a 6.5, 50 bucks.
Yeah, ain't bad. See, a 6.5, a 49. That's a Silver Age book, plus the first appearance of a character that's associated with Magneto.
Well, a lot of people go forward at number 50 though because she's on the cover, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I got that. Hold on. I just showed it. Yeah. I just showed this Saturday night. If y'all ain't seen our live stream from Saturday, go check it out. We talked about our favorite comic book covers.
Yeah,
this was actually on there, this one. This is a dope cover, man. It's Jim Steranko. But yeah, her first appearance is it's underrated or undervalued. So let's see, 264.60, 99 for a raw copy, which that look beat up. I ain't gonna even click on it. It looked really beat up. It looks water damaged too. 4.0, 140. 299, 7.0, 92, 2.5, 3.5, 110. Like I said, man, give or take. I know when I bought my copy, I paid right around what Biggie paid for his, but it was a raw copy. I paid for like either 50 or 60 bucks for it.
Wow.
And I got off of eBay about 2 years ago. And it was in really good shape. Really good shape. Yeah, they did. I think Sunspot is supposed to be one of the. He's on the roster, which shocked me because I would have thought they would have put Cannonball on the team before Sunspot. But who knows? You know, Larry likes to say certain things like, you know, that the comic books now promise for whatever the movies are going to do. So who knows? He might be in that show simply because of he might have some plan for him. I like Roberto da Costa though. He's a cool character, especially when they augmented his powers. But as y'all can see, I mean, you know, for it being a Silver Age book, first appearance of Lorna Dane and the Jim Steranko, that's not really a book that's, out of reach if you want to get it. $164.99 compared to other books, like the Blob,
Right.
Una's the Untouchable, which I bought like last year. So yeah, I don't know what these other books are here, but 205, 300, 449, United Kingdom. So yeah, that's pretty much all we have for this particular segment here. So just to give y'all, a little info on what we've seen as far as undervalued books or whatnot. I'm pretty sure there's more that we could probably elaborate on. But those are the ones that we actually, picked. Specifically, the Bishop Larry picked out one, and I'm always gonna champion X Factor 6 because it's just like Matt like to say, it's an abomination and a travesty that book is so low. But we've just shown that if you're looking for books to get, whether it's for your personal collection or to flip, those are some options that you have. Like I said, we don't champion or campaign the whole flipping thing. If that's what you do, knock yourself out. But at the end of the day, we just want to show y'all what we've seen on these internets and what we feel like undervalued books. So Larry, you got anything to say about that particular segment, sir? Or anything to
Man,
add?
I think like you said, man, it's crazy how things fluctuate. If you go back 2 years, yeah, I was just about to get to that, Apollo. That 2 years ago, man, some of those books, man, were like, man, like it's too much for them. And now it's like, I guess the market's corrected itself, and it's like now we back to affordable prices for some of those books. But for anybody who's actually an X-Men fan, and now's the time to go out and get some of these books, especially if you, what got me started was, you get to read some of these books, and then you start wondering, like, okay, well, where did that person come from, and where did this person come from? So if you're in that stage, now's the time to go ahead and start buying these books before they get out of hand again, because they are going to go back up. It's just a matter of when.
I agree. And I will say this too, in terms of what Larry just spoke on. If you haven't seen our video or our live stream, I think it was about 2 shows ago, maybe 3 shows ago. We had Halia Comic Bro as a special guest. He's a member of the comic book community, but him and Matt talked about Heroes Con in North Carolina. And they had some, and I saw like people from all over Instagram and, various social media talk about how great it was. One of our local comic stores actually bought, and I saw it. He wouldn't let me take a picture of it. I don't know why, but he actually bought a copy of X-Men 1, the granddaddy of them all, from Heroes Con, and it was a mid grade for $6,500. And the guy he bought it for wanted to get it graded. He told me dude wanted to put UV light or something he said, get it some kind of light treatment. I'm looking at the book, I'm like, dude, there's nothing wrong with this book. Go ahead and slab it, because an X-Men 1 is an X-Men 1. And I mean, it was in really good condition. People were buying John size X-Men's at this con for like $2,100 mid-grade. On $1,200, I'm sorry, for mid-grade. So right now, it would appear with the select couple of books that X-Men books are pretty, if you want to call that affordable, which, I mean, if you're a hardcore collector looking to buy those books, $6,500 is a steal for X-Men number 1.
Yeah.
I got X-Men number 2 a few years back, the first appearance of the Vanish for like $300, but that was back in 2016. But yeah, this is one of the best times to go, and not just Uncanny X-Men. Like I said, there's other books out there that's worth picking up too. That first volume of X Factor is a really good series. Personally, I have a soft spot for New Mutants. And at one point, I liked the New Mutants team back in the 80s better than I did the X-Men team. Because, I mean, I was a teen growing up, and they kind of like resonated with me, you know. But, yeah, that's it for our first inaugural show. We don't know when we're going to be back. Maybe we're going to shoot for Wednesdays. We may, if Larry's schedule permits, we may shoot for the Saturdays that we're not doing the Comic Call crew. And we'll talk about that. But if not, we'll be here at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Next Wednesday, we should be here, barring we don't get caught on the phones at work, or something else happens. As of what we're going to talk about, we don't know, because there's so much stuff we've already talked about doing. And then shout out to Apollo. We may, break down X Factor, that for the original group, because they got about 20 different versions of X Factor. But we may talk about that first group, some of the highlights. Don't know. But either way it go, whatever we watch, whatever we talk about, it's going to be mutant related. So just keep your eyes peeled on our Instagram channel. If you're not subscribed to the Comic Call crew, just hit like, subscribe, and click those bell notifications for any type of notifications to notify you of, I just made that word up, to notificate you. I made that one up too. To notificate you of any of our shows, whether it be hauls, which I'm actually going to be doing a haul. Comic Hall crew is off this weekend. We're going to be back on the 19th of August. Our matter of fact, it's after midnight. So today is our 7-year anniversary on YouTube. So we've been doing this YouTube thing for like 7 years. So we're going to have an anniversary show on the 19th. And I think Matt got some pretty big stuff planned. I'm not totally sure. Just letting him deal with that. But like I said, we may actually occupy the time space of Saturday at 9. That way we'll do a show a little bit earlier, but we'll let y'all know. But keep track of us on Instagram, as well. Like I said, subscribe to the channel. Larry, you got anything to say before?
Look, man. Shout out to all the vampires out tonight, man, because we know it's almost 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, man. But we appreciate you giving our first show a look, man. It's only gonna get better. Keep tuning in to us, give us your feedback, and we got some dope shows planned, and hopefully we can pull them off.
We will pull them off with your help. The chat. We thank y'all for being here. We thank y'all for staying with us. We had a great time as far as our conversation, and like Larry says, it's gonna only get better. But sometimes we like Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp when it comes down to the deck. And that ain't no exaggeration. That ain't no exaggeration. For real. So we hope to provide that entertainment to you all in the near future. But with that being said, this is Al, a.k.a. Dusty Brown, Comic Call Crew /X Factor. My man Larry Crocker with Comic Call Crew, a.k.a. the X Factor. Like I said, keep your eyes peeled on our next show. Should be next week. Topic, we're gonna work on that too, and we will see you all on the next one. What's Larry?
Oh, look, he said not even 10 p.m. yet.
Hey, man, you good, man. Well, thanks for staying up with us, Evan. We appreciate it, my man. And like I said, we're gonna keep coming with this X-Men stuff. So y'all might get tired of it, but if y'all do, it's a billion other channels on YouTube you can watch. Now I'm just playing.
No, man, we gonna sprinkle some other stuff in there, man.
Yeah, now we are gonna talk about other stuff. We're not gonna. We try to talk about X-Men 95% of the time, but we do read other stuff, and we might briefly talk about some other stuff that we're reading, segments we're gonna add to the show, but we're gonna talk mostly about the X-Men. So just keep that in mind. But again,
and look, don't watch another show. Don't listen to Al.
I don't know what he's talking about, y'all. I didn't say nothing just then. But in any event, we bid you all good night. And again, for those that actually showed up, thank you so much for our first show. And we gonna get it right. We're gonna get it even righter. So thank y'all so much for showing up. And we are out the building. Y'all take care and have a good night.
Good night.